Activate your angels for finances, beloved. You are not as alone in your financial journey as you have been made to believe. Invisible helpers walk beside you, waiting for your command, ready to bring forth the abundance that has already been written with your name upon it. The struggle you see in the outer world is not the final truth. It is only the shadow of an inner assumption you've carried too long. Angels, the messengers of provision, move in response not to your fear but to your faith. When you dare to declare that money flows to you, when you imagine yourself living in overflow, when you give thanks before the blessing appears, you activate forces far greater than banks, employers, or economies. This moment is your invitation to rise, to speak with authority, and to let the unseen servants of heaven manifest visible supply in your life. The unseen helpers respond to your inner state. When you look around at the world, it seems as if finances, opportunities, and blessings arrive by chance, through hard labor, or through connections in society. But I tell you this, there are unseen helpers moving in your life, waiting not on your effort, but on your inner state. These helpers, whom Scripture calls angels, are not distant creatures with wings flying in the clouds. They are living forces of consciousness, the invisible messengers of the divine, responding to the vibrations you carry within. They operate by law, not by favoritism. They do not answer to your desperation, nor are they stirred by your complaints. They move only when your inner state of being aligns with the outcome you desire. If you see yourself as poor, unsupported, and lacking, you instruct them to deliver more of that reality. If you see yourself as prosperous, provided for, and overflowing, they obey and arrange circumstances to reflect it in your world. Think of it this way. Your inner world is the command center of all that takes place in the outer. The state of consciousness you inhabit is like a signal broadcast into the invisible. Angels are receivers and executors of that signal. When you dwell in fear, they can only bring experiences that confirm fear. When you inhabit faith, they rush to manifest experiences that confirm abundance. Your angels are not activated by pleading, they are activated by assumption, the assumption that you are already blessed, already supplied, already in possession of the financial abundance you seek. This assumption is the voice they hear and the instruction they obey. Many people spend years of their lives crying out for change, but never shifting the inner state from which they cry. They pray for money while secretly believing in lack. They ask for provision while assuming the world is unfair. They speak of blessing but carry an identity of struggle. Such double-mindedness leaves the angels idle, for they cannot override your chosen identity. Your angels are loyal. They mirror whatever state you consistently hold. If you carry lack, they magnify lack. If you carry abundance, they magnify abundance. They do not decide for you, they obey you. Your responsibility, then, is to choose your inner state deliberately, because the unseen helpers respond faithfully to it. You may say, but I have tried to think positively, and yet my financial situation has not changed. This is because your angels are not activated by fleeting wishes or passing emotions. They are stirred by a deep assumption that saturates your being. If your inner speech still repeats, I don't know how I'll pay my bills, you are sending commands of lack. If your imagination still rehearses images of debt and insufficiency, you are clothing your angels with instructions to keep lack alive. Angels cannot act apart from the garment of belief you place upon them. To change your finances, you must change the state you inhabit, not just in moments of prayer, but as a new dwelling place of consciousness. When your inner state shifts, your angels are released, and they rush with swiftness to build bridges, open doors, and deliver opportunities that match your assumption. Consider this: every promotion, every check, every unexpected financial gift you have ever received was preceded by an invisible arrangement. Someone had to think of you, someone had to be moved to sign, to give, to call, to recommend, to release. Those movements were not coincidences. They were orchestrations by unseen helpers responding to your state. The world calls them luck or timing, but they are angelic operations, and yet they were not sent by chance. They were summoned by your assumption. When you carried the inner state of being worthy of favor, the angels touched the hearts of others to favor you. When you carried the inner state of being worthy of increase, the angels arranged circumstances that brought increase. Nothing arrives without them, and they arrive only by what you inwardly assume. This is why you must be vigilant with the garden of your mind. Every thought you allow to take root is a seed that instructs you Angels, every image you rehearse is a design you hand them to build. Every inner conversation is a decree that sends them forth to perform. If you rehearse conversations of lack, they obediently weave lack into your reality. If you rehearse conversations of abundance, they faithfully build abundance around you. Angels are not judges, they are executors. They do not ask whether your state is good or bad, wise or foolish. They simply fulfill it. Therefore, your destiny in finances is not determined by chance or external forces. It is governed by your state and carried out by your unseen helpers. Let me remind you, your angels are more powerful than any bank, government, or employer. When you inhabit the state of wealth, they can open doors that no system can shut. They can move hearts to give in ways logic cannot explain. They can arrange divine coincidences that defy statistics. But none of this is possible while you inhabit the state of fear. Fear binds them, faith releases them, worry silences them, assumption of wealth empowers them. The moment you shift your inner state, they are activated. The moment you dare to believe you already have what you desire, they begin to arrange its appearance. Your part is to hold the state, their part is to manifest it. This is why many suffer financially while others seem to live under constant blessing. It is not because one is loved more by God. It is because one has learned to live in the inner state of wealth, while other has made a home in the inner state of lack. Angels respond to states, not persons. The law of their operation is impartial, just as gravity is impartial. If you drop a stone, it falls regardless of who you are. If you inhabit abundance, angels manifest abundance regardless of who you are. Law does not fail, but it does require awareness and consistency. So ask yourself, what inner state have you been living in regarding money? Have you been dwelling in lack, rehearsing scarcity, seeing yourself as one who never has enough? If so, you now know why your angels seem inactive. They are not absent, they are simply obeying your chosen state. But you can choose again. You can decide this very moment to inhabit the state of abundance. You can see yourself as one whose life overflows, whose needs are met before they arise, whose cup runs over. Hold this state, saturate yourself in it, let it become natural to you, and your angels will be set in motion to reflect it. Your unseen helpers are not far away. They are closer than your breath, waiting on the shift of your inner being. They long to show you the riches that belong to you, but they cannot move until you move in consciousness. The choice is always yours. If you dare to believe, if you dare to assume, if you dare to live inwardly as though it were already done, then watch as your angels spring into action. They will go before you, they will touch hearts on your behalf, they will orchestrate divine alignments, and they will not rest until your inner assumption is made flesh. Such is their loyalty, such is their power, such is their obedience to your inner state. Therefore, do not delay, do not wait for outer circumstances to change before you believe. That is not how this works. Believe first, assume first, inhabit first, and then your angels will move. Activate them not by begging, but by assuming. Activate them not by fear, but by faith. Activate them not by complaint, but by gratitude. And when you do, you will see with your own eyes that finances flow, opportunities appear, and provision comes in ways beyond what you could ask or imagine. Your unseen helpers respond only to your inner state, and the moment you shift it, they shift your world. Faith is the currency of heaven. When men speak of wealth, they speak of dollars, coins, or notes. They speak of business deals, labor, and the systems of this world. But I tell you, the true currency that governs all increase does not belong to the earth. It belongs to heaven. This currency is invisible to the eyes of men, yet it commands the movements of angels and the arrangement of circumstances. That currency is faith. Faith is the exchange medium of the unseen realm. Just as money moves men to release their goods, faith moves heaven to release its treasures. Earthly currency loses value, it fluctuates with economies, but the currency of heaven never weakens, never diminishes, never fails. Every angel waits for it, every blessing responds to it, every door swings open by it. Without faith, angels remain idle, because they are not sent forth by desperation or begging. They are dispatched only by the assurance that what is hoped for already exists and already belongs to you. Do you see the difference? Many pray for finances as though they are trying to persuade God to give them something he has withheld. They cry as though heaven is locked and reluctant, but heaven is not reluctant, heaven is abundant. It is man who has not yet learned to transact with the right currency. You cannot buy divine provision with tears, complaints, or fear. Heaven does not respond to panic. Angels do not move because you tell them how difficult your situation is. They move because faith has spoken. They move because faith has assumed. When you walk into a store with earthly money, you do not beg the cashier to hand you the product. You present the money and the exchange is complete. In the same way, when you walk into the storehouse of heaven with faith, you need not beg. You need only to believe, and the angels of provision release what is already stored up for you. Faith is not hoping that one day things will get better. Faith is not wishing for a miracle while secretly rehearsing doubt. Faith is the inner conviction that the thing you desire is already accomplished. It is standing in the middle of lack and declaring, I am supplied. It is looking at an empty account and assuming, I am wealthy. It is hearing the demands of creditors and responding, my cup overflows. Faith does not wait for outer confirmation. It creates the confirmation. Faith does not ask permission from the senses. It rules over the senses, and the angels of finances recognize only this language to them. Faith is the only legitimate currency. All else is counterfeit. You must understand this. Angels are not impressed by your hard work, though diligence has its place. They are not impressed by your hours of worry, though worry seems justified to the world. They are not impressed by your tears, though they may fall freely from your eyes. What they obey is the decree of faith, for faith is the divine law written into the universe. When you hold faith, you hold the substance of the thing before it appears. The angels then rush to embody that unseen substance into visible form. But when you hold doubt, you hold nothing, and angels cannot build from nothing. Doubt is the absence of currency. Faith is the overflowing vault. Let us take an example. Imagine two individuals, both in need of financial provision. One prays desperately, crying out for God to send money, yet within his heart he believes it may not come. His words beg, but his state denies. His angels hear the denial, not the request. The other stands quietly, gives thanks as though the money were already in his hands, imagines himself paying every debt with ease, and rests in the assurance that heaven has already supplied. His outer world may still be the same, but his inner state has transacted with heaven, and what follows? Circumstances shift, doors open, unexpected channels arise, because the angels were activated by faith. Do you see? Both prayed, but only one prayed with currency in his hand. Faith is not passive. It is the most powerful act of dominion you can perform. To assume wealth when all outer evidence denies it is to hold the very key that moves the unseen realm. Angels are not summoned by complaints. They are summoned by creative assumption, and faith is creative by nature. It dares to assume that what is unseen is more real than what is seen. It dares to imagine the promise already fulfilled, and in that act it spends the currency of heaven, commanding angels to bring the unseen into sight. Do not say, I will believe when I see. That is not faith, that is sight. Faith is believing before you see, and then seeing because you believed. Every transaction with heaven demands this posture. Every angel waits for this signal. Until you believe, nothing moves, but the instant you dare to believe, heaven cannot resist, angels cannot delay, provision cannot remain hidden. It must come forth, because faith has paid the price. Let gratitude be joined with faith, for gratitude is the receipt that proves your transaction. When you give thanks before you see the blessing, you prove you have already spent the currency of faith. You prove you already hold the substance within. Angels recognize gratitude as the seal of true faith. They recognize it as the evidence that the exchange is complete. If you can give thanks before your bank account changes, before your bills are paid, before the opportunity arises, then you have shown heaven that you believe, and heaven always honors faith. Now listen closely. The world may tell you that money is the only power to move life forward, but you know differently. Money is only the shadow, faith is the substance. If you hold money but no faith, your wealth will wither. If you hold faith even without money, wealth must appear. For faith is the root, and money is the fruit. Faith is the seed, and provision is the harvest. You cannot expect harvest without seed, and you cannot expect provision without faith. Plant the seed of faith in your heart, water it with gratitude, and angels will cultivate the soil of your life until it bursts forth in visible increase. Many live as slaves to the world's economy because they have ignored heaven's economy. They believe their income is limited by their job, their promotion, their connections. They believe that lack is permanent because of statistics and reports. But your life is not governed by earthly systems. Your life is governed by faith. When you live by faith, you transact directly with heaven, and heaven's resources are limitless. Angels are not bound by recessions, inflations, or shortages. They can create provision in famine. They can bring wealth in wilderness. They can cause rivers to flow in deserts, but they will not move without faith. So I ask you, what currency have you been carrying? Have you been trying to buy heaven's treasures with the currency of worry? Have you tried to purchase provision with fear? Have you offered only doubt to the angels and expected them to deliver? If so, change your currency, put faith in your hand, enter the storehouse of heaven with the only coin that heaven accepts, declare boldly, I already have all I need. See yourself as supplied, walk as though you are wealthy, give thanks as though blessing were already here, and watch how quickly the angels of heaven move to manifest your assumption. For faith is the currency of heaven. It is the power that activates angels, the force that draws provision, the assurance that wealth is already yours. Hold it, spend it, live by it, and you will never lack again. Your word commands the invisible from the very beginning. Creation itself was birthed by a spoken word. The earth, the heavens, the seas, the stars, and every form of life, all appeared by the utterance of divine speech. The invisible became visible through the command of a word. If the Creator fashioned the universe with words, how much more are your words charged with creative power? Angels, those unseen messengers of provision, do not move at random. They move when words of conviction are spoken. Every word you utter from a place of faith is a command that sets the invisible into motion. Every declaration you make with certainty is a decree that mobilizes angels to carry it out. Your world, whether rich or poor, abundant or lacking, is the echo of the words you have spoken, both aloud and within yourself. Words are not idle sounds, they are seeds that bear fruit in the soil of reality, and the angels are the gardeners assigned to water and cultivate them until they manifest. You may have underestimated the weight of your speech, thinking that what you say is harmless or inconsequential. But listen, your words are never neutral. They either instruct angels to deliver abundance or instruct them to deliver lack. When you say, I am always struggling, the unseen servants rush to confirm it. When you declare, I can't afford this, they obey and close the channels of supply. When you murmur, money never comes easily to me, you have unknowingly signed an order for the angels to arrange obstacles. Yet the reverse is also true. When you declare, I am prospered in all that I do, angels go forth to manifest prosperity. When you say, I live in overflow and abundance, they open doors and shift hearts to reflect it. When you proclaim, money flows to me in expected and unexpected ways, they orchestrate circumstances to make it so. Your word is the key, your tongue the instrument, your speech the decree that heaven itself acknowledges. Understand this, angels cannot disobey a word spoken in faith, nor can they ignore a word spoken in fear. They respond faithfully to both, for the law of speech is impartial. Your world today is simply the harvest of yesterday's words. If you have spoken lack, you are living lack. If you have spoken abundance, you are living abundance. The invisible responds not to your wishes, but to your declarations. Angels are not moved by silence, but by sound. Sound impregnated with belief becomes the blueprint of reality. Every word you speak writes instructions in the unseen, and angels carry them out with precision. If you desire wealth, you must speak wealth. If you desire freedom, you must declare freedom. If you desire increase, you must proclaim increase. For until you speak it, it cannot be formed. Words are carriers of vibration, and angels move by vibration. Words filled with doubt release confusion into the unseen, but words filled with faith release clarity and order. You cannot afford to speak carelessly about money, for every careless word is still a command. How often have you said, I am broke, and watched the world confirm it? How often have you repeated, I never have enough, and then struggled with insufficiency? Your speech has been the architect of your financial reality, and your angels have been loyal servants carrying out every plan you drafted with your tongue. But you are not bound to continue in this pattern. With the same mouth that declared lack, you can now declare abundance. With the same tongue that decreed insufficiency, you can now decree overflow. The angels do not hold grudges. They obey your present word. Speak differently now, and you will command a different future. Consider this. A king does not beg his servants to act. He issues a command. The authority of his voice is enough to move armies, shift nations, and build empires. You are no different. You are a king in your realm, and angels are the servants waiting for your decree. When you speak, you issue royal orders. If your words are filled with fear, you rule over a kingdom of lack. If your words are filled with faith, you reign over a kingdom of abundance. Do not abdicate your throne by careless speech. Do not surrender your authority by declaring poverty. Use your tongue as the scepter of dominion, and you will see your angels rush to establish the reality you decree. But here is the secret. Your word must be rooted in conviction. Empty repetition does not command the invisible. It is the word spoken with inner belief that carries weight. If you say, "I am wealthy," while inwardly laughing at the absurdity, the angels hear the laughter, not the declaration. If you declare, "I am prospered," while secretly doubting, the angels obey the doubt, not the proclamation. Words must be aligned with your state of being. The invisible obeys congruence, not pretense. Therefore, before you speak, saturate your imagination with the vision of what you declare. Feel the wealth as though it were already yours. See the overflow in your mind's eye. Rejoice in the abundance within your inner world, and then speak. That word, now clothed in conviction, will thunder in the unseen and mobilize angels to perform it without delay. This is why Scripture declares that life and death are in the power of the tongue. Your words give life to visions of abundance or death to them. Your words either bless your finances or curse them. Every day you are planting seeds with your speech, and the angels are faithfully tending to them. If you want a different harvest, change the seed. Let no word of lack escape your mouth again. Train your tongue to speak only what you wish to see. Let your inner conversations agree with your outer declarations. For angels hear not only the words you say aloud, but also the silent speech within. If you grumble in your heart while declaring prosperity with your lips, the inner grumble speaks louder. Guard both your outer tongue and your inner tongue, for both command the invisible. Now imagine the power of sustained speech. One word spoken in faith carries weight, but words spoken consistently build an unshakable reality. Every day you declare wealth, you reinforce the instructions to your angels. Every morning you proclaim abundance, you strengthen their assignment. Every night you give thanks with your mouth, you seal the work they have begun. The more consistent your declarations, the stronger the blueprint they construct. Just as repeated hammer strikes drive a nail deeper, repeated words drive your assumption into the invisible until it cannot be denied. Speak wealth until your angels have no choice but to manifest it. Speak increase until your outer world bows to your inner decree. Speak prosperity until lack is erased from your vocabulary and your reality. Do not despise small beginnings. At first your words may feel weak, and your circumstances may mock you. You may declare, "I am wealthy," while holding an empty wallet. You may say, "Money flows to me," while debt collectors call your phone. Do not be discouraged. The angels are already at work, though unseen. Your word has gone forth like a seed planted in the soil. The harvest may not appear overnight, but the process has begun. Keep speaking, keep declaring, keep commanding, for the word never returns void. It always accomplishes what it was sent to do. Trust the process, honor your decree, and watch as the invisible becomes visible in due season. Your word is a weapon, a seed, a decree, and a command. Use it wisely. Do not let your tongue betray your desires. Do not let your speech cancel your faith. For the invisible waits on your word, and angels move at the sound of it. If you long for financial freedom, declare it. If you desire wealth, proclaim it. If you seek increase, decree it. Let every word be filled with conviction, clothed in gratitude, and spoken as though the reality were already yours. For truly, when you speak with faith, your word commands the invisible, and the angels of heaven rush to obey. Imagination creates the path for provision. Everything you will ever see in your life begins first as an unseen picture within the theater of your mind. What the world calls imagination is not fantasy or daydream. It is the divine workshop where realities are shaped and blueprints are drawn. Your finances, your provision, your wealth, these do not begin in banks, jobs, or markets. They begin in imagination. Angels, those invisible messengers of supply, do not create blindly. They create according to the images you furnish them with. If your inner world is filled with pictures of lack, debt, and struggle, then that is the only script your angels have to perform. But if your imagination dares to dwell on wealth, overflow, and ease, the angels take that script and build it into the outer world. Imagination is the womb of creation, and the angels are the midwives who bring forth what has been conceived within. You must realize that imagination is not idle. Every day you are imagining something. When you worry about unpaid bills, you are imagining. When you replay in your mind how hard money is to earn, you are imagining. When you rehearse the fear of poverty, you are imagining, and every time you imagine, you are handing your angels a pattern. They do not question whether it is good or bad, desirable or undesirable. They simply execute. Angels are not interpreters. They are builders. They build whatever blueprint you give them. If you continue to imagine lack, they will faithfully construct lack. But the moment you give them a new picture, the moment you see yourself living in abundance, debt-free, generous, and secure, they set down the old plans and begin to manifest the new. This is the law of imagination, impartial and exact. Many people pray for finances while never shifting their inner pictures. They ask for abundance with their mouths, while their imagination still shows them struggling, begging, and worrying. Such prayers are powerless, because angels cannot act against the inner picture. Prayer must be more than words. It must be imagination clothed in faith. When you close your eyes and see yourself opening the letter that says paid in full, when you walk through the home in your mind as though it were already yours, when you imagine the account filled with more than enough and feel the relief and gratitude of it, you are praying the most effective prayer. In that moment, your angels receive exact instructions, and they begin arranging the outer circumstances to match. This is why children seem to attract blessings effortlessly. They have not yet learned to doubt their imagination. When a child imagines themselves rich, they believe it instantly. They play with the reality until it feels true, and in doing so they release angels to act. Adults, however, weaken imagination with skepticism. They dismiss the pictures within as fantasy and bow to the evidence of the senses. They say, "It is impossible," and their angels, bound by that decree, can do nothing. But those who reclaim the childlike gift of imagination will see miracles in their finances, for heaven responds not to logic but to vision, not to analysis but to imagination. Let us take a simple example. Suppose you are burdened with debt. The world teaches you to stare at the debt, calculate endlessly, and live in fear of it. But imagination gives you another path. Each night, as you lie down, imagine the debt already gone. See the account cleared. See yourself rejoicing. Hear yourself telling others, "It is finished, I am free." Feel the weight lifted from your shoulders. Let that vision saturate you until it becomes more real than the numbers on the page. Hold it persistently, even when the outer world mocks you, and what will happen? Your angels will receive this picture as command. They will influence circumstances, open doors, send unexpected provision, and touch hearts to align with your vision. Soon the outer debt will vanish because the inner debt was already dissolved in imagination. The path to provision is never logical. Angels do not need logic, they need vision. They are not bound by statistics, economies, or probabilities. They only require a picture. The clearer and more consistent the picture, the swifter the manifestation. If you keep changing your inner image, wealth one day, lack the next, you confuse your angels and delay your blessing. But if you hold fast to a single vision of abundance, unwavering and steady, they will labor day and night until it becomes flesh. Consistency in imagination is the key that unlocks speed in manifestation. You may ask, but how do I know my imagination is not just fantasy? The difference is this: fantasy is something you hope for but doubt. Imagination in faith is something you assume as already real. Fantasy is playful but powerless. Imagination with conviction is creative and unstoppable. When you imagine with the feeling of already having it, you move from fantasy into creation. That is the difference your angels recognize. They do not act on idle daydreams, but they rush to embody visions assumed as real. Think of your imagination as the architect's drawing. No builder constructs a house without a plan. No angel constructs your financial blessings without a vision. The drawing precedes the building. The invisible picture precedes the visible form. You are the architect of your life, and your angels are the builders. If you hand them no drawings, they cannot build. If you hand them chaotic sketches of fear and doubt, they will construct chaos. But if you hand them a clear, bold, confident vision of wealth, they will build a life that matches it. Your responsibility is to design with imagination. Their responsibility is to construct in reality. Do not wait for outer evidence to inspire inner vision, that is living backwards. Outer evidence is always the echo of inner pictures. If you want wealth tomorrow, you must imagine wealth today. If you want freedom in the future, you must see yourself free in the present. Angels move in the direction of your dominant vision, not your fleeting wishes. If your imagination dwells more on fear of lack than on assurance of abundance, then lack must appear. Shift the vision and you shift the provision. Imagination is also the place where gratitude and faith unite. When you imagine yourself already blessed, you naturally begin to give thanks. That gratitude strengthens the vision and confirms it as real. Angels take gratitude as proof that the picture is not fantasy but assumption. The more you give thanks in imagination, the more swiftly they bring it into form. Gratitude is the glue that holds the picture steady, preventing doubt from dissolving it. Therefore, when you imagine, always end in thanksgiving as though the thing were already done. Never forget, your imagination is not a toy, it is a tool. It is the most sacred power you possess, for through it you mirror the Creator himself. Every invention, every fortune, every empire that exists in the world first lived in someone's imagination. The wealthiest men and women were not those who labored hardest, but those who dared to imagine boldly. They saw what others could not see, and angels moved to bring it into being. You hold the same power. You may be surrounded by lack now, but if your imagination dwells on wealth with faith, you are wealthier than those with full accounts but no vision. For accounts can empty, but visions never die until fulfilled. So I ask you, what picture have you been handing your angels? Have you filled your imagination with fear, doubt, and limitation? Or have you dared to design wealth, freedom, and abundance? You hold the pen, you hold the brush, you hold the power to draw the life you desire. Begin today to imagine differently. See yourself in the reality you seek. Live in it within, speak from it, feel from it, give thanks for it, and never surrender that picture, no matter what the outer world shows. For the outer is only the shadow, the inner is the substance. Angels take substance from your imagination and cast it as shadow in the world of form. Imagination creates the path for provision. It is not your job to know how the angels will bring it to pass. It is only your job to furnish them with the vision. Let go of the how and hold fast to the what. Picture the end, live in the end, rejoice in the end, and let the angels design the path. They will move mountains, rearrange circumstances, and weave divine coincidences to lead you into your vision. Trust them, for they are faithful, and trust yourself, for you are the architect of your reality. Imagination is your greatest currency, your most sacred power, your surest path to wealth. Dare to use it, and you will never lack again. Gratitude seals the work of angels. There is a mystery that many overlook, yet it is the very force that completes every act of creation. Gratitude. Gratitude is more than polite manners or saying thank you. When something good happens, it is the vibration that seals the work of your angels and brings the invisible into form. Angels are moved by faith, but their work is perfected and accelerated by thanksgiving. When you give thanks before you see the blessing, you announce to heaven that you already possess it in consciousness. Gratitude is the final act of faith, the proof that your assumption is complete. If faith is the currency that purchases heaven's treasures, then gratitude is the receipt that proves the transaction. Without gratitude, faith remains incomplete, like a seed planted but never watered. But when gratitude rises from your heart and lips, it waters the seed of faith, sealing it in the soil of your imagination. Until it must grow and manifest, you must understand, angels are not activated by complaints, but by thanksgiving. Many pray for finances while their hearts murmur with bitterness. They beg for provision while they curse their lack. They ask for increase while they secretly resent their present state. Such prayers carry no power because angels cannot respond to ingratitude. Ingratitude is the language of doubt, and doubt cancels the work of faith. But the moment you shift into thanksgiving, the atmosphere changes. Gratitude is the song that fills heaven, the vibration angels recognize as completion. To them, gratitude is the signature on the blueprint. Until gratitude is given, the design feels unfinished. But once you give thanks, the angels rush to complete the work, for they know the vision has been sealed. Think of it this way: when a king issues a decree, it is not valid until it carries his seal. The words may be spoken, the order written, but without the seal it holds no authority. Gratitude is that seal. Your declarations, your assumptions, your visions, all must be sealed with thanksgiving. When you declare wealth and then give thanks as though it were already so, you impress the vision deeper into the invisible. Angels receive gratitude as the confirmation that you are not wavering. They see that you are no longer hoping or waiting, but receiving, and when you receive within, you must soon receive without. Gratitude makes the unseen tangible by treating it as done, but gratitude must not wait until the evidence appears. If you wait to see money in your hand before you thank, you are not walking in faith, you are walking in sight. Gratitude that comes after the blessing is natural. Gratitude that comes before the blessing is supernatural, and it is this supernatural gratitude that seals angelic work. When you can look at an empty account and still say, "Thank you, for my abundance overflows," you have sealed the vision. When you can face the demand of creditors and say, "Thank you, for every debt is already paid," you have sealed the decree. When you can rise each morning and thank God for the wealth that is unseen, you have sealed the provision. Angels cannot ignore such gratitude, for it is the language of heaven itself. Gratitude also shifts your inner state. When you give thanks, you cannot remain in fear or lack. Thanksgiving lifts your vibration into alignment with abundance. It transforms your perception so that you see not what is missing, but what is given, and angels always respond to the state of abundance. If you complain, you dwell in lack, and they build lack. If you give thanks, you dwell in abundance, and they build abundance. Gratitude changes the soil of your consciousness so that only fruitful seeds can grow. Without gratitude, the soil is hard, resistant, and filled with thorns of doubt. With gratitude, the soil becomes soft, fertile, and rich, ready to yield increase. Consider how even in the smallest matters, gratitude multiplies. A child who receives a small gift and thanks sincerely often receives more, for gratitude opens the heart of the giver. The same principle governs heaven. When you thank for the little you have, it multiplies. When you thank for provision unseen, it appears. When you thank continually, angels are compelled to multiply your blessings, for gratitude is a magnet that draws more to be thankful for. Lack shrinks under complaint, but multiplies under thanksgiving. Abundance grows wherever gratitude is planted. Do not wait for a dramatic miracle before you practice gratitude. Begin now with what you already see. Thank for the breath in your body, for the roof over your head, for the food you eat, for the opportunities that surround you. Thank for every small provision, and then extend your gratitude into the unseen. Thank for the wealth you have not yet touched, the opportunities you have not yet seen, the overflow that has not yet appeared. Speak as though it is already here. Thank you for the increase. Thank you for the harvest. Thank you for the open doors. Thank you for the abundance. This continual thanksgiving conditions your consciousness into faith and confirms to the angels that you are living from the end, not striving toward it. Gratitude is also protection. When you live in thanksgiving, you are shielded from fear, envy, and comparison. A grateful heart is too full to entertain lack. A grateful mouth is too busy praising to complain, and when you are filled with gratitude, your angels remain unhindered. Fear and envy tangle their work, but gratitude clears the path. It creates a smooth channel through which provision flows unhindered. Gratitude keeps your vibration high, your vision steady, and your angels active. Understand this. Your angels are ministers of joy. They do not linger where bitterness rules. They do not labor where ingratitude speaks, but they delight in thanksgiving. They draw near to the soul that sings gratitude. They accelerate the blessing for the one who gives thanks before it is seen. They rejoice to complete the vision of the one who lives in continual thanksgiving. Gratitude is the atmosphere of heaven, and when you carry it, heaven manifests in your finances. So I ask you, what has been your language? Have you spoken more complaint than thanks? Have you rehearsed your lack more than your blessings? Have you murmured in doubt instead of rejoicing in faith? If so, you now know why your angels seemed slow. They were not absent. They were waiting for gratitude to seal the work. Change your language today. Begin to give thanks for everything, seen and unseen. Speak gratitude until it becomes your natural tone. Thank for what you desire as though it is already here. Seal every vision, every prayer, every declaration with thanksgiving, and watch how quickly the angels move. Gratitude seals the work of angels. It is the final stroke that completes the masterpiece. Without it, the picture remains unfinished, hanging in the gallery of imagination. With it, the picture is signed, framed, and delivered into the world of form. Gratitude is not optional, it is essential. It is the proof of faith, the seal of vision, the completion of creation. Hold it, practice it, live in it, and you will never lack again.